Title: The Uninvited Guest. Thanksgiving dawned with the promise of familial warmth, and the scent of roasting turkey filled the house. Our dining room, adorned with autumnal hues, exuded an inviting glow as we prepared to welcome family and friends. Little did I know that our Thanksgiving celebration would soon take a nightmarish turn, with no ghosts, no shadows, and no spirits to blame. As the day unfolded, laughter and the clatter of cooking utensils echoed through the house. The table was meticulously set, a cornucopia of delights awaiting our guests. Friends and family arrived, their cheerful greetings punctuating the air, and the feast began with an atmosphere of conviviality. As the evening progressed, a discordant note gradually infiltrated our gathering. Beneath the veneer of familial warmth, a subtle tension simmered. The air grew thick with unresolved grievances and unspoken words, transforming the once joyous occasion into a silent battleground. Amidst the clinking of cutlery and the facade of smiles, I noticed a figure at the table, an uninvited guest who seemed to materialize from the shadows of strained laughter. A distant relative, known for stirring the pot with tales of familial discord, had unexpectedly joined our celebration. The atmosphere shifted as the uninvited guest's presence cast a pall over the gathering. Innocuous comments morphed into veiled jabs, and the air buzzed with an unsettling undercurrent. The once harmonious celebration devolved into a battlefield of passive-aggressive exchanges, each word a weapon wielded in the name of unspoken resentment. As the night wore on, the uninvited guests' tales of familial discord took center stage. Stories of old grudges and buried secrets echoed through the room, creating an atmosphere of discomfort and unease. The feast that had started with jubilation now felt like a performance, a charade to conceal the fractures that ran beneath the surface. In the midst of the familial tumult, the uninvited guest stood to leave. The room fell silent, and the weight of unspoken truths lingered in the air. As the door closed behind them, a profound sense of relief washed over the room. But the scars of the uninvited guest's presence remained, a haunting reminder that sometimes the most terrifying horrors are not supernatural, but the visceral echoes of unresolved familial strife. Thanksgiving, a day of gratitude, had unraveled into a nightmarish exploration of familial discord. The uninvited guest had left their mark, and as the remnants of the feast were cleared away, the lingering unease reminded us that even in the absence of ghosts, shadows, and spirits, the true horrors could be found within the intricacies of strained family ties. Title: Harvest of Hostility. Thanksgiving beckoned, and I found myself invited to partake in the familial traditions of my girlfriend's home. Excitement mingled with trepidation as I approached the welcoming glow of her family abode. Little did I know that this seemingly innocent celebration would twist into a nightmarish tale, culminating in a Thanksgiving I would never forget. Upon entering the house, the warmth of familial chatter enveloped me. The aromas of a meticulously crafted Thanksgiving feast wafted through the air, promising a celebration of togetherness. As I exchanged pleasantries and embraced the facade of holiday cheer, a subtle tension simmered beneath the surface. The dinner table was a grand spectacle, adorned with culinary delights that hinted at hours of meticulous preparation. Yet as the feast commenced, an unspoken rivalry between family members emerged, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Whispers of long-buried resentments and simmering feuds cast shadows over the familial facade. I attempted to navigate the treacherous waters of familial dynamics, striving to avoid triggering the dormant animosities. However, the atmosphere grew increasingly charged, and each exchange felt like tiptoeing through a minefield of suppressed hostilities. As the night wore on, the tension reached its peak. A seemingly innocent comment sparked a heated argument, and the familial harmony shattered into a discordant symphony of raised voices and accusatory glares. The air thickened with animosity, and the once inviting space became a battlefield for unresolved disputes. My attempts to diffuse the escalating conflict proved futile. The Thanksgiving celebration meant to be a harmonious gathering, devolved into a chaotic nightmare of familial strife. The feast lay abandoned, the dishes now serving as a testament to the broken bonds that had been unearthed. In the midst of the turmoil, I found myself caught in the crossfire of accusations and grievances. My presence became an unwitting catalyst for the familial unraveling, and the warmth of Thanksgiving transformed into a cold realization that some families harbor darkness beneath the surface. As I departed from that tumultuous Thanksgiving evening, the echoes of discord lingered in the air. The familial ties that had initially drawn me in now seemed frayed and fragile. The once inviting home now bore witness to the harvest of hostility that had sprouted from the seeds of unresolved conflicts. Thanksgiving, a day meant for gratitude and unity, had twisted into a nightmarish tableau of familial discord. The scars of that evening would forever mark the memories of a celebration Gonéalri, a stark reminder that the shadows cast by family histories can sometimes overshadow even the brightest of holiday gatherings. Title: The Pursuit of Thanksgiving. The rhythmic hum of tires on the asphalt echoed through the night as I navigated the desolate highway, heading towards my parents' house for Thanksgiving. The glow of the dashboard lights was my only companion in the dark, lonely stretches of road. Little did I know, I was not alone. As the miles rolled by, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was trailing me. A shadowy presence, always lingering just beyond the reach of my rearview mirror. Each time I glanced back, there was nothing but the empty road stretching into obscurity. Yet, an inexplicable unease settled in the pit of my stomach. The feeling intensified as I approached a dimly lit rest stop. I pulled in, hoping to dispel the growing paranoia with a hot cup of coffee. The air inside the small convenience store was thick with the scent of burnt coffee and stale donuts. As I waited in line, I caught a glimpse of a figure outside. Someone standing in the shadows, watching. Ignoring the chill that ran down my spine, I hurried back to my car, the unease refusing to dissipate. The highway resumed its hypnotic hum, but now every passing tree seemed to hide more than just branches in the darkness. The sense of being followed persisted, even as I merged onto a lonely stretch of road bordered by thick woods. The headlights in my rearview mirror multiplied, casting an eerie glow that flickered like distant flames. Panic set in, and I pushed my car faster, the engine's roar drowning out the thudding of my heart. With each twist and turn, the pursuer matched my every move, a phantom in the night. My parents' house loomed in the distance, a beacon of safety that seemed increasingly elusive. The road became a sinister labyrinth, and the shadows played tricks on my tired mind. Finally, I pulled into my parents' driveway, the headlights of my mysterious follower disappearing into the night. My hands trembled as I fumbled with the keys, unlocking the front door in a rush. I bolted inside, peering out the window to catch a glimpse of the elusive pursuer. Nothing. Just the quiet suburban street. Thanksgiving dinner unfolded as planned, a facade of normalcy concealing the turmoil within. I couldn't shake the feeling that the shadow from the highway lingered, waiting for another opportune moment. As the night wore on, I kept glancing out the window, half expecting to see a figure in the shadows, a specter of Thanksgiving past, present, and perhaps future. Title: Thanksgiving Turmoil. Thanksgiving was supposed to be a time for family, warmth, and gratitude, but in our household, it became an annual battleground, thanks to my troublesome brother, Derek. His arrival was always heralded by a storm of drama that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of our holiday. As the doorbell rang, signaling Derek's entrance, a heavy tension settled over the house. He sauntered in, a smirk playing on his lips, as if he relished the chaos he brought with him. I couldn't help but wonder what mischief he had in store for this year's celebration. The drama began subtly, veiled in passive-aggressive comments and sarcastic remarks during the appetizers. Derek had a knack for pinpointing sore spots in the family dynamic, exploiting old wounds that we had hoped to bury beneath the guise of Thanksgiving civility. As we gathered around the dinner table, the tension escalated. Derek would deliberately steer conversations into treacherous waters, bringing up topics he knew would incite heated arguments. The room echoed with raised voices, drowning out the spirit of gratitude that the holiday was meant to embody. But Derek's antics didn't stop there. He strategically spilled a glass of wine on the meticulously set table, igniting a blame game that further fueled the familial flames. I could see the satisfaction in his eyes as chaos unfolded around him. As dessert was served, Derek took center stage with an announcement that sent shockwaves through the room. He claimed to have unearthed a family secret, a revelation that would forever alter our perception of each other. The air grew heavy with anticipation and dread. The revelation, however, was nothing more than a twisted fabrication, a concoction designed to sow discord. The damage, though, was done. Thanksgiving had transformed into a battlefield of emotions, with accusations and resentments flying like stray arrows. In the aftermath, as the shattered remnants of our holiday lay before us, Derek vanished into the night with a smug grin. He had achieved his goal, turning a day of Thanksgiving into a chaotic spectacle of family discord. As we attempted to piece together the remnants of our fractured celebration, I couldn't help but wonder if Derek's ultimate goal was not just to ruin Thanksgiving, but to unravel the very bonds that held our family together. Title: Harvest of Regret. Thanksgiving had always been a time of joy and gratitude, but this year, a dark specter from my past threatened to turn the celebration into a nightmarish reunion. As I busied myself in the kitchen, preparing the feast for my family, I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that something was about to go horribly wrong. The doorbell rang, interrupting the clatter of pots and pans. I opened the door, expecting the familiar faces of family and friends. Instead, there she stood, my ex, Rachel, with a look in her eyes that hinted at a madness I hadn't seen before. She claimed she had nowhere else to go for Thanksgiving, that she was alone and desperate. Against my better judgment, I reluctantly invited her in, hoping the holiday spirit would quell any lingering animosity. Little did I know, Rachel's presence would be the catalyst for a night of terror. As the evening unfolded, Rachel's behavior grew increasingly erratic. She spoke in hushed tones, whispering cryptic messages that made my skin crawl. The warmth of the holiday gathering gave way to an uncomfortable tension that permeated the room. When dinner was served, Rachel's gaze lingered on each member of my family, as if she were calculating something sinister. Her laughter, once familiar and comforting, now sounded like a haunting melody that echoed through the house. As the night wore on, the facade of normalcy crumbled. Rachel's erratic behavior escalated into a full-blown meltdown. She accused me of betraying her, of conspiring against her happiness. The atmosphere thickened with resentment, and my family exchanged worried glances. In a fit of rage, Rachel overturned the Thanksgiving table, sending dishes crashing to the floor. The room fell into chaos as she screamed, her voice a chilling symphony of anguish and fury. Panic seized the gathering, and my family scattered in fear. I tried to reason with her, to calm the storm that had erupted in my home, but Rachel's eyes burned with a madness that defied reason. She disappeared into the night, leaving behind a shattered Thanksgiving and a lingering sense of dread. As the echoes of her departure faded, the house stood in disarray, the remnants of the holiday feast scattered across the floor. Thanksgiving had transformed into a night of horror, a reminder that sometimes the ghosts of the past can resurface, turning a celebration of gratitude into a haunting ordeal of regret. Title: The Neighbor's Feast. Thanksgiving Eve was upon us, and the aroma of roasting turkey filled the air as I prepared for a festive gathering with friends and family. Little did I know, the shadows cast by the flickering candles on my dining table would soon intertwine with the unsettling presence of my neighbor, Mr. Grimsby. Mr. Grimsby lived in the old Victorian mansion next door, a dwelling that seemed to absorb the fading sunlight, casting an eternal shadow over his property. His figure, hunched and cloaked, gave the impression of a man who had witnessed the passage of centuries. As I arranged the centerpiece, a peculiar stillness enveloped the room. The air grew thick, and the sound of my own breath seemed to echo louder than usual. A soft knock at the door interrupted the eerie quiet, and there stood Mr. Grimsby, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. With a tone that seemed to carry a whisper of the wind through barren trees, he wished me a happy Thanksgiving and presented a covered dish. The scent wafting from the container was both enticing and disconcerting, an amalgamation of spices that I couldn't quite identify. Reluctantly, I invited him in, hoping his visit would be brief. As we sat in the dimly lit living room, Mr. Grimsby spoke in riddles, weaving tales of forgotten rituals and ancient traditions that made my skin prickle with unease. His eyes never left mine, and his cryptic words seemed to dance through the air like malevolent spirits. When it was time to part ways, Mr. Grimsby left, leaving behind a lingering sense of dread. As the night progressed, my guests arrived, and we gathered around the Thanksgiving table. The covered dish sat untouched, a silent reminder of the enigmatic neighbor's strange offering. The feast unfolded in a semblance of normalcy, but the atmosphere remained tainted by Mr. Grimsby's presence. Whispers of strange shadows and haunting tales circulated among the guests, and a chill settled over the room like a ghostly hand. Days turned into nights, and the echoes of that peculiar Thanksgiving lingered. I couldn't shake the feeling that Mr. Grimsby's visit had left an indelible mark on my home, a connection between our worlds that transcended the boundaries of the living. As the seasons changed, and Thanksgiving approached once again, the memory of that unsettling evening resurfaced. The shadows cast by the candles seemed to dance more eerily, and I couldn't help but wonder if Mr. Grimsby's intentions were more malevolent than his cryptic words suggested. The neighbor's feast had become a haunting enigma, a reminder that sometimes the darkness next door holds secrets that defy the warmth of a holiday gathering.